Relax, the keyboard is off and the press box is closed, but the mic is just getting warmed up. Welcome to the Hockey Writers Ink, the show where the writer is fresh off the presses and the ink is not dry. Join your host, Lance Green, the guardian of the blue paint turned writer, and co-host SteelFlyers, as we bring you all the latest on the Philadelphia Flyers.
Hi guys, welcome back to the Hockey Writers Ink. As always, I'm your host, Lance Green.
Oh, man, and as always, I'm your co-host, SteelFlyers, and Lance, my friend, how are you, sir?
I'm doing all right.
Yeah, you're doing all right? You're having summer winding down for you, all right?
Yeah. Looking forward to the kids going back to school and getting out of my hair, so that's always good.
Always good, for sure. And that's exactly, where we're getting to at this. That's that time of the year now here where we're just getting towards the end of summer and all this other stuff. And you know what that means, right? That means that we are just about 2 weeks away from the opening of camp for the Philadelphia Flyers. And folks, I got to tell you something. And this is becoming an annual thing here, so this is why I'm really excited to have this show, and I'm really excited to talk about a lot of things that we're going to get to, especially as it pertains to what's going to go on with the Flyers. This is the Hockey Writers Ink, a Philadelphia Flyers centric podcast and show. We appreciate all of the subscriptions, all the views, all the likes, and we also really appreciate you guys putting us out there in the top 15 of all Flyers podcasts. So we're ranked number 11. So thank you guys very much for that, man. Big props. Hockey Writers Inc. salute for that. Big thank you for you guys for helping us out to get number 11th in the top 15 Flyers podcast. This Hockey Writers Inc. show. So thank you guys very much for that. Also appreciate Spreaker and all the great work that you guys do in helping us to get the Hockey Writers Inc. podcast out there for everybody to listen to on all your favorite platforms, from Google to iHeart to pick one, Spotify, whatever. Just pick one, type in the Hockey Writers Inc. We come up and you give us a 5-star rating. And man, I'll tell you what, it's been paying off. So thank you guys very much for that. We really appreciate that. Here we go, Lance. We're going to get into this. This is your annual article that you put out that I really enjoy because we get to break it down individually. And man, I'm here to tell you, episode 136, Lance's annual camp battles that are set to ensue for the Flyers. And not only are we going to get to talk about this, but we also get an awesome article that you released just last week about this very subject that we're going to talk about, Lance.
Yeah, I'm excited. As you said, I'm always up for camp. This is the time for some younger players to show what they got, and if they're ready and willing to jump up and take the next step in their development and maybe make the Flyers roster. And I believe this season, unlike any other in recent memory, Danny Briere and Keith Jones, new management here in Philadelphia, has left some spots open. I mean, there are a couple of guys that, familiar faces, if you will, that are no longer in town. All right, James Van Riemsdyk was let walk. He's up in Boston now. You sent Ivan Provorov out the door. We got some good prospects and stuff back for him.
Oh, we'll get into some of that a little bit later.
Right. And, Kevin Hayes, longtime Flyer now, is sent packing on his way, too. So a lot of open spots, a lot of actual battles that are going to actually matter instead of just being sent back to the Phantoms or whatever anyway. So some interesting spots from offense to defense, even in goaltending, so we can get to them soon enough here, right?
You got it. And that's exactly what I'm excited about, too, because you cover every aspect of the team in this article and give great insight in your article about this. And that's why I love when we get to do this now, because now we get to break this down here and some of the things that we're looking forward to in camp this year. Do you know what I mean? And I'm really excited. Start getting into it. So let's go first little part here, okay? And the first little part here is basically the Philadelphia Flyers were unable to find a home for Jay O'Brien, and so Jay O'Brien was about to go away, in uncertain terms, right? You know, he was waived or he released or however way you want to say it. He is no longer with the team, and for that, the Flyers were able to go second round draft pick in 2024.
Yeah, so Jay O'Brien was part of that 2018 draft class. The Flyers used their second first round pick on him that year. He had a bit of a troubled past. Went to Thayer Academy, didn't do so good there. Went to Providence College. Thayer, he did well, but he went to Providence and then just really, I don't know, for whatever reason, didn't really fit in, got injured, all that stuff there. Regrouped and had to sit out a year of NCAA play. So he went to the Penticton V's of the BCHL and had a rebound year back in 1920 season. But stepped back up and got to Boston U, where he had some just subpar years. He had his best year with 32 points in 39 games last season, being the assistant captain, but it still wasn't enough for the Flyers to really extend a qualifying offer to him. So in turn, his time with the Flyers was up, and he was granted his walking papers, and since has signed a AHL deal with the Toronto Marlies. So, like you said, the Flyers, because they drafted him in the first round and didn't really sign him, didn't really work out. So they were garnered a second round pick. So that is going to be great for future Danny Briere picks. He was a guy that was picked prior to Danny Briere obviously taking over. Yeah. So, now we're going to get to see another pick in this upcoming draft, possibly, that Briere and Keith Jones is going to be able to select and get their own guys in. So I think it's a good way to cut your losses with one player and potentially gain another. So
exactly.
Wish them the best, but hopefully we get something out of them that is going to better fit the team.
And that, would be that second round pick in a draft that both you and I feel that the 2024 draft, although may not feature quite the offensive or front end talent, it's going to feature a lot of back end defensive talent, blue liners and such for this next draft coming up. And we both feel that this next draft coming up is going to be another really good draft that you'll be able to get somebody, at least all the way through. Do you know what I mean? And so that's kind of, unfortunately, the Jay O'Brien experiment didn't work or whatever, but I'm with you. I hope that it equates to a draft pick that the Flyers can use in the future or, sooner rather than later. So I'm all for that. And, I'm looking forward to that. That gives the Flyers now 2 number 1 draft picks, first round draft picks, and 2 second round draft picks for the 2024 draft. So right away, you're already looking at 4 really good picks for the Flyers for next year, right? So let's build on that, right? And that's exactly what's been going on here since Danny Briere and the new era has taken over. And let's talk about the battles that you're looking forward to on the offense.
Right.
Because let's face it, This has been an area of contention for the Flyers for some time now. I remember not that long ago when there were 5, 6, 7, up to 9 players on the team that each had goals, right? Where is that? Why can't we? What? Hello? Can we get back to that? So, what are you looking forward to in this camp for the offense?
Well, for the offense, I'm looking forward to a couple of things, but I think the main focus that guys are going to really watch if you're there is to really look at the wing aspect with Wade Allison and the battle which is going to be between him and Tyson Forrester. Tyson
Yeah.
Forrester had a great season last year, but Wade Allison has kind of been there. He's 25 years old now, and he's a battler. He's a great Flyers player, right? When you think of the Flyers, a typical mold, this kid would be it. Hard fought player, hard nose, gives you everything he's got, but in the same token, um, you know, that kind of flair that he plays with isn't conducive to staying in the lineup. Um,
No.
the kid's got stones for days that he showed you, especially last year. Right. In camp last year when he went up against New York Rangers, 6'8" prospect Matthew Rempe, when he bloodied him right up, and the kid's, you can't tell this kid that he can't do something, but um, his collegiate career and now his professional career has been riddled with injuries, and it's kind of caught his progression to kind of take a seat back to some other players, and that's where I think you're going to look at the 21-year-old Tyson Forrester and that mindset, and possibly being able to jump up and take his spot on the Flyers opening night roster.
Yeah.
Okay, so when you look at it, Forrester was a first-round pick in 2020, and this kid really, really took off for the Phantoms last year. He scored 20 goals, 48 points in 66 games played. He made an AHL All-Star team, and that kind of point production in the AHL is great to see. But what was better was that what he was able to do in a little curtain call at the end of the season last year for the Flyers, where he was able to jump up in just 8 games. He was able to net 3 goals, 4 assists for 7 points, almost a point per game in his first couple of games with the Flyers. Okay. He's an exciting player. He's had an NHL shot, quality shot, since he was probably 15, 16 years old in juniors. That's what kind of drew the Flyers to him while watching the Barrier Colts of the OHL. And
Yep.
This kid is really, really exciting. He's friends with Joel Farabee. I think latest was them out fishing just a couple of weeks ago or a week or so ago.
Saw that.
So
that was cool.
these guys are friends. It's a guy that Farabee has now got a couple of seasons with the Flyers. He's coming back 100%. He can kind of take this kid under his wing, and hopefully I kind of see him predicting as a guy much like Owen Tippett. You give this guy some playing time and he's going to take off. So that is definitely my battle in the offense to watch for sure.
So now you focused in on players, and I love that about what you did here with this article. But for me, the specific battles for offense is going to be a little broader, because there's a couple of areas that I would just kind of like to briefly touch on here. And the first one is this. I think we're pretty good. I think even without Frost being signed, I still think the Flyers have a pretty decent up for center. And I think the thing that's on offense that's going to be the battle is going to be the wings,
Yeah,
because you're
like I
going to
said,
have
yeah.
you're going to have guys that are going to be moving again, because you potentially have Couturier coming, you have Atkinson coming back. You know what I mean? You could potentially move Scott Lawton back to his natural position. Do you know what I'm saying? With Noah Cates coming back, and with Pearl that they got from the Provorov trade, and some of the other folks that are on the team. I really think that the wing is going to probably be the, the the main contention for the Flyers, and it's left open because Van Riemsdyk is gone, Hayes is gone, right? So there is at least a spot there. You know what I'm
Well,
saying? That's kind of where I'm at
well,
on
Hayes,
the
you know,
offense.
Hayes played center, so there's a spot open for sure in the center position. But like you said, Sean Couturier's hopefully coming back. I think the depth at center is pretty good, especially. You know, Sean Couturier, I would move over Scott Lawton and allow him to play center if you don't bring back Frost somehow, or if you're not
Okay.
willing to sign him. And I would say that you would have four shutdown centers in that sense.
Yeah.
And, you know, you have Couturier, you would have Scott Lawton, you would have Noah Cates, and you would have newcomer Ryan Poling to center that fourth line. That would be shut down defensive centers that I would think would help this team. Now, Scott Lawton has played wing the last couple of years out of necessity, but like you're saying, that is where a lot of left wing, especially, is a position where players could really make the team.
Yeah.
In the system, the Flyers have Joel Farabee and they have Nick De Laurentiis and one prospect playing for the Phantoms. That's natural left wingers that are to be signed. So Cam Atkinson is potentially might have to move over
Yep.
because, you know, Owen Tippett's there. You got Travis Konechny. You're
Yep.
going to have a youngster that we already talked about, you know, coming up potentially in Forrester, who I wouldn't want to see be moved off his natural
Yeah, I'm
wing.
with you. Yeah.
You know, as a rookie coming up, I would want that. You know, but Atkinson has kind of played both sides. So in a sense, that's where I really see a need more. Not so much, you know, with Morgan Frost having to come back and sign at center. We have centers. We have so many
Right.
centers that we're
Right.
playing them as wings, as we did with Claude Giroux. You know,
Yeah.
we need natural wingers,
Wingers,
especially
left
left
wingers.
wingers.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's where I see a big hole there, but
Yeah.
we just don't have them in the system or anything to really
Yeah.
uh,
Right.
to really bring a real camp battle that I said they're going to make the team possibly, um, in a sense. So I don't know. That's where I'm at as far as the offense goes.
The other thing that I just want to talk about, excuse me, about the offense is this. The other thing that drastically needs to improve is special teams. I, look, I don't know what's going on down there in Flyer land. I don't know if they're not drinking the right water. But look, I understand that the power play basically comes from the guys that you put together out on the line and everything else like that, and that. But there has to be at least a system that you're playing under. There has to at least be. I don't know, man. I to me that is going to have to be a big point of contention when it comes to the offense is the power play. It has to improve. I mean, you can't get any worse than what they're at right now, so it has to. You can only go up. So that's kind of what I'm looking at as well too. Coming out of camp is an improved power play in some way, shape, or form. You know what I mean? So all right. So we talked about the offense. Now we have to talk about the other side of the puck, and that's the defense. And owing to the subtractions that happened for Philadelphia Flyers in the offseason with Provorov going away and also with Tony DeAngelo being waived as well. That has allowed the Flyers to now do some things and get a little bit more creative and allow potentially another spot or two maybe to open up for another youngster to come in and play. And Lance, talk to me about how you broke down the defense and just what might be some major changes in store for the blue line this year.
Well, like you hit on, it's going to be a different defense for sure, and much needed. Ivan Provorov is now with the Blue Jackets, as you said. Tony DeAngelo was bought out and now back with the Carolina Hurricanes. And Justin Braun has retired, so thank goodness he won't be back next season. But anything's going to be better because, I mean, you look at guys like Tony DeAngelo, and he finished with a team worst minus 27 last year. So, it's not really, he scored a lot of points, but he also was on the ice when they let in a lot of goals too. So in a sense, I think the Flyers really went out and signed some veteran replacements, okay, that are going to be on the team. You got Sean Walker that you got from the Kings in the Provorov trade, a solid defenseman in a sense, very underrated in my book. And, you went out and got Mark Stahl, who, is obviously a very, big veteran presence on that blue line. He's going to help some of these young kids that are coming up. And, he only took the Florida Panthers to the Stanley Cup, not essentially finals. Only on his back, but
he went to anyway.
Right. He took them to the Stanley Cup finals, and they eventually lost to the Vegas Golden Knights. But, he was there. He took a young team and that defense, and really helped them out. And so I think the Flyers, that's why they brought him in, to be that kind of veteran on that blue line for a young defensive core. And, it's going to be better. It's going to be better. But the real open spot for contention is going to be that who's going to make that seventh defenseman in my mind, or that guy who's going to get that first call up when somebody goes down. And that's really the camp battle, because I think the defense is really set. You got Sanheim, you got Risto, you got Mark Stahl, you got Cam York, you got Nick Seeler, who's going to be there on the Flyers roster. I think for nothing else, the availability, like his ability to play both sides, he's solid. He can hit. He's going to be there. Not necessarily my favorite person, but he's got experience and he's not going to hurt you while he's out there. And then you got Sean Walker, like I said. So the guy who was really that call-up guy that I'm talking about before in years past was Igor Zumla, but he really kind of took a step back this season for me. As much as I like the guy, as much promising stuff that I see about him, he really took a step back, and in a sense because of a couple of players. And one of them was Ronnie Attard, who is 24 years old right now. He's a right-hand shot defender, 6'3", 207, was really good in Western Michigan. And, last year he signed with the Flyers, only made an AHL All-Star game, right? In his first full year in the AHL. In 68 games played down there, he scored 12 goals, 20 assists for 32 points. But more importantly, he was a +10 while he did it. I really like this guy because he's a guy who will stand up the opposition at the blue line. He doesn't back up. He doesn't retreat into his goaltender's view. He's going to try to get that puck and really get the play going back the other way. I really like him. He's going to be a real contender. And I think he got an opportunity to play a couple of games up with the Flyers. He didn't really show off like maybe Forrester did on the offensive side of things when he got a call up, but he didn't really make any mistakes either when playing for the Flyers. So in a sense, this old goaltender thinks that is a sign of a good defenseman anyway. If he disappears, if he's not noticeable on the ice, he's doing his job.
Yeah, if you don't hear his name being called, yeah.
Right.
You know, I'm with you.
A second guy who I think is going to fight for real attention in camp is Emil Andre. He's 21 years old now.
Yeah.
He was the Flyers 2020 second round pick. Is a bit undersized at 5'9", 181 pounds, but he spent the last 3 seasons playing a part in the SHL, Sweden's top professional league. So coming over last season, Andre, after the SHL season got finished, he came over and he played in parts of quite a few games, 10 regular season games for the Phantoms, and he really got his feet wet and seemed comfortable towards as the games went on. And in development camp alone, I think he showed that he can play physical. He can play the North American style game.
Yeah.
He was able to move the puck well. He skated well with the puck on his stick, cycling on the power play drills and stuff like that, and scrimmages and stuff like that. So I really like this kid moving forward. I really want to see him play a full season with the Phantoms, but I wouldn't really mind seeing him in the orange and black for a couple of games if some players get banged up.
I'm with you.
All right.
I'm with you. And I like where you're going with this. Okay? I really do. But I think it's going to go a step further.
Okay.
Because I think that Ronnie Attard actually has a shot to make this team.
Well, I mean, I
just do.
I think all 3 of the players that I wrote about actually do. And, it's up to them.
Talked about Adam Jennings.
Yep. And I talked about Adam Jennings too. And he's the last defenseman on this list that I wrote about. But he's potentially the one that has the most appeal to me in a sense, because he's the Flyers 2018 second round pick. He's 23 years old. He's played parts of 6 seasons in the SHL before joining the Phantoms last year. Now, he's not as flashy as maybe Emil Andre is on a power play. He's not as flashy, physical in a sense as Ronnie is, but I like his game, in a sense, because he's got that disappearing factor, but at the same time, he's 6'4", 205. When he needs to get physical, he can. He excels at board battles. He's going to get you that puck back when you need it. He clears out the front of the net, which, all old goaltenders love. And, he's probably the most physical out of the bunch overall.
Yeah.
But, I think he has the most intangibles out of the bunch to really be the shutdown defender at the next level. And the biggest part of that is he was a plus 24 last year in the AHL. That's the most impressive stat for me. When you had Emil and Ronnie playing, they just weren't, that defensively sound as I think Jennings is. And for a player who's actually, you're not going to crack. None of these guys are going to crack the top 4 defensemen. Okay, they're not going to do that for the Phantoms this year out of camp. No. But what they could do is possibly take the spot from a Nick Seeler or somebody like that.
So that's now you're talking about what I'm getting into.
If they can come out and make Tortorella with no choice,
hard decision,
to make that choice, and not say, man, I can't get rid of this guy.
Exactly.
He's got to stay up. And I think any one of these 3 players could potentially do that. Okay. But my guy would be Adam Jennings. He's just a solid,
I can see
third
that.
pairing defenseman, and that's what I think the Flyers need.
Yeah, no.
A lot of these other guys, a lot of these other 2 are going to benefit more from playing top line minutes for the Phantoms. I think they're going to play rather than playing third line minutes for the Flyers. I think, when it comes down to it, I think that Mark Stahl is going to be here for a year or so. Then Ronnie Attard or Emil Andre is going to take over that position on a top 4. You know what I mean? I
I
don't
get what
think
you're
that
saying.
they're going to play. I don't think that Tortorella is going to want to play either one of those other guys top bottom pairing minutes in the NHL. I don't think that they're going to want that. I think they're going to benefit more from playing 20 minutes a night in the AHL to start out the
Well,
season at least.
okay, I get what you're saying, and I understand, and it makes a lot of sense. But I need to switch a name or two on your philosophy to do with what I'm thinking about, because I think that Ronnie is going to make this team, and I think he's going to be the guy that's going to make the Nick Sealer be the one that's going to be the odd man and be the call up. I think that you need to see Jennings play a full season at the AHL. I think that'll do him well, because I agree with you 100%. Those guys will need to play those types of minutes in order for them to progress in their, in their. But I think that Ronnie Attard, with making the All Stars last year and playing in every situation, playing those big minutes with the AHL, I think he's ready to make that jump. And if given the opportunity, maybe not at the beginning of the season, but maybe towards the middle, he might be playing more of the topper line minutes instead of the bottom line minutes, if you get what I'm saying. Do you understand what I'm saying? I just feel that Ronnie Attard is more ready to go than instead of being that seventh guy. Do you know what I mean? Because why would you do that to a player that is only going to get better if he's playing? And I really think that if you put Ronnie Attard up there, even if you start him at the beginning of the season as the bottom defense, right? And yeah, maybe he's only playing 10 minutes, 12 minutes a game, you know what I mean, at least in the beginning. This is going to give him that, NHL experience. This is what it's going to be like now. And now after a couple of games, now you know what to expect. So you should start to see his game get better and better and better, like it did last year. We saw with the Phantoms. As he got more and more comfortable, his game got better and better and better. I mean, he made the All-Star. I don't think he has anything else to prove now down in the juniors or down in the AHL. That's why I think that this has to be make or break for Ronnie Attard. And I think he is going to out-seat one of those, Nick Sealer type guys or whatever, that he's going to make the team. That's just my gut.
Well,
Will it happen?
Yeah, let's see what happens. I mean, he is 24 years old now. Defensemen usually take a little bit longer than
Right.
maybe some dynamic offensive talent that can jump up and play maybe a year after they're drafted. But let's see where we're at. I would love to see youth win out, especially in a rebuilding state. I'd rather see a rookie make some mistakes out there and learn from them in a rebuilding year, and gain game knowledge and learn from be up on the road with guys like Mark Stahl and be able to teach them something on the ice and just traveling as a NHL professional, in practice and all that habits, so it would be good, but we'll see, we'll have to see who wins out, who really comes to camp to win a job or just, goes through the paces, I guess. So
you're not going to be able to do that at a Tortorella camp. You're just not.
No. Well, if you are, you're not going to be in that camp long. So.
Well, okay, right, yeah, okay, that's a better way to say that. Yeah, if you do it like that, you're not going to be there long, because you can't loaf, you can't take any time off. You got to be on your skates and on your game, all the way through this. But that's kind of where I'm at with this on the defensive side, because of the Provorov and the D'Angelo going away, the Braun retirement. That has left a spot open for one of these youngsters, and I would much rather see a younger guy playing in that spot. Maybe, like you said, maybe not at the start of the season, but I really do think that he might have the capability of doing that. He might surprise us.
if he makes it difficult for Tortorella, then I think that's a good problem to have. Because I would much rather, like you said, have the young guys up so they learn how to lose together. Because when you learn how to lose together, that drives you to want to win together. So I'm with you. All right.
Goaltending.
And of course, yeah, obviously we have to talk about goaltending. And of course, it needs to go along with defenses, the other part of special teams, and that's the penalty kill. And I think that needs to get better as well, too, because let's face it, the Flyers special teams across the board has been dismal, to say the least. That would be a good way to put that, right? I mean, okay. Now we're going to talk about the old goalie is strapping him in, lacing him up, getting his mask on, and talk to me about this now very, very crowded goalie room now for the Flyers. And frankly, I mean, it could be anyone's game here, I think. What do you think?
Yeah, goaltending. The Flyers have had this problem trying to find, a franchise type goalie since I believe it dates back to 1999, since Ron Hextall retired.
Yeah.
All right. The Flyers have started 32 different goalies since that time.
Oh my gosh!
Yep.
Since 1999.
Yep. So
32 goalies. Oh, that's like almost one a year.
Well,
it averages out to that, right?
Yeah, just about. So, and this includes Carter Hart in my mind. Carter Hart hasn't come out and solidified this position, and if you view what Danny Briere was doing this offseason, his name was definitely shopped as somebody potentially the Flyers would be looking to get rid of, and I only think. Let's face it, the guy has a career win percentage of 0.41%. So he's only winning 41% of his games career-wise. It's not too good. But the only real reason I see him as still being here and not traded already is the Hockey Canada sexual assault scandal that still has yet to produce their findings in this. And it's disheartening that it's taking this long. Obviously, you want to get this right, but this is dating back to the 2018 Canadian World Junior team, who Hart played a part on, and it was one lady in particular, one young girl in particular, that said that quite a few, 7 or 8 different guys from that team took advantage of her and committed some unwanted acts. And Carter Hart, among others, have come out and said that they played no part in that. But I think prospecting teams that would be willing to do that deal are not really going to risk selling the farm to trade for him until his name is completely cleared of these allegations. And, I don't know why.
Which makes perfect sense.
Well, it makes sense. But in the meantime, Danny Briere has not been, sitting on his hands.
No.
He's went out and traded Provorov and since got back a guy like Cal Peterson, who is 28 years old and has 100 NHL games of experience. And, he did pretty well for the Kings on and off. He had a bit of rough patches, but at one time he was thought to be Jonathan Quick's next, an heir to the throne kind of thing. But since that, he's come in with a $5 million salary cap. So it's going to hit hard for the Flyers. And, you're paying a guy that much. He's obviously going to get a chance to at least be a backup in this position, if not start for this team. I don't think Danny Briere's happy with the play of Carter Hart. And that's kind of why he's went out and made these decisions that we're talking about here.
Well, okay, to some extent, I think so. But I also think it goes back to what you talked about with this whole junior team issue.
Sure.
Because if Carter Hart is implicated, And if it comes out that he was a part of this, or
He's
God
going to be
forbid,
suspended. Yeah.
I mean, God
At
forbid
the
if anything.
least, suspended, if not put charges on him. Yeah.
Okay, so if you're gonna have with a guy who's gonna be suspended, you have to make adjustments now, so that in case that were to happen or is to
For sure.
happen, then you have a contingency plan in place. Cal Peterson could be that guy that could come and step in. They re-signed Erison, right, whom we both love, right? And the IIHF ruled in favor of the Flyers for Ivan Fedotov. He could potentially be reporting to the Flyers camp as well, which, I mean, I'm not holding my breath on that anytime soon. But and then they drafted two guys, in the draft this past spring, for goalies. So suddenly now there's a lot of guys in that room that aren't necessarily named Carter Hart.
Yeah, for
Okay.
sure. And a lot of those, Peterson, although he hasn't had the best numbers as of late, the Kings really haven't been the greatest team. They
In
kind of
front of
made
them either, yeah.
they in front of them. They've lost the big pieces that won them the Stanley Cups that they have in recent memory, and but he showed promise. He's for Team USA in the World Championships. He went undefeated and maintained a 0.72 goals against average and a 9.56 save percentage, with one of those wins being by way of a shutout. So he has shown that he can play in front of behind a good team. The Flyers are going to be much better defensively, I feel. So he could be that guy that potentially take over the net. In a potential absence of Carter Hart. Hopefully that doesn't happen, but
You're right.
They got to. And
Right.
as you mentioned, Sam Erson's there as well. He's a 23-year-old netminder who the Flyers re-signed. And he looked pretty good. He had a winning record when he played for the Flyers, 6-3, and has since. The Flyers signed him, and it earned him a $2.9 million two-year deal. Guy is going to get paid $1.4 million, almost $1.5 million. You're not going to pay a guy that much if you don't think he has a legit chance in making this team.
Exactly.
Erison is an experienced netminder. He has played multiple seasons in the SHL before coming over, and he was pretty good player on a bad team over there, so he knows what it takes to hold a team together when they're rebuilding. And you take it a step further and you look at Ivan Fedotov. Like you said, the IIHF has ruled in favor of the Flyers, saying that they did in fact have a legitimate contract in place when Ivan went out and signed with KHL team CSKA. So it's going to be some more battling. But Ivan Fedotov could be a great piece to come over if all the cards, fall in line and, things happen how they're actually supposed to.
He's allowed to come over.
And he's allowed to come over and play for us. That would be absolutely great, because when he last played, he was the KHL's best goalie and, won his team the KHL's Guardian Cup, which is their Stanley Cup. So, he can essentially do it. But, if you factor all these goalies, Carter Hart, Peterson, Sam, Ivan in there, the Flyers have $11.275 million in cap spent just on goalies. So they know it's a big problem, and they're throwing money at it for sure to try to rectify this spot. So, is that guy in place? Potentially, I don't know.
Yeah.
But like you said, they went out and if it's not, they have Kozlov, who they drafted prior. They went out and got potentially not my favorite goalie in this last draft class, but they got Carson,
Right.
They drafted him pretty high. They moved up to get him, and they went back-to-back picks with another goalie this offseason and got Yegor. So there's a lot of goalies in the Flyers system right now, and I'm here for it because somebody needs to take over this net. One of these guys needs to step up and be the goaltender for this franchise.
Just
And I
somebody.
and I think with all those names mentioned and more coming with Oliver Bonk and all this other stuff on defense, these prospects we're getting in, maybe that in a couple of years time that defense is going to be rectified and really brought around. But
Man, that'd be
all these
nice.
goalies could potentially be an open candidate to make this Flyers opening night roster. So we're
Okay.
just going to have to really see how this all plays out in between the pipes and who comes out standing in the blue paint for the Flyers. It's going
I'm
to
with
be a
you.
battle royale
Yeah.
for sure, especially if Ivan comes over and is allowed to actually suit up.
Play.
Because
Oh my.
if he chooses to stay with Russia, he's got sanctions imposed on him until the new year. So I don't see how it's uh, in right terms for the for the
Well,
KHL's team to really keep
yeah.
him in that sense.
I mean, that's kind of, oh man, that's a shame, is what that is. That that this player is gonna be unable to play where he should legally be allowed to play, which is unfortunately for the Russia team is supposed to be playing for the Flyers. He
Yeah,
was drafted and signed by the Flyers, and that contract was stated that it should be honored, so he should be here playing.
right.
Um, and the fact that he's going to be sanctioned, yeah, until like January or something,
Yeah,
4 months is the sanction for that or whatever that is, or however that's going to shake down. So okay, whatever. So you don't want to play hockey then? Okay, and that's a real shame.
well, I think he
So,
does, but I think
well, no, yeah, yeah.
his choices are being made for him by Russia as a nation and the KHL. We'll
Which is
just
why
say
I think
that.
it's a shame.
Yeah,
Yeah,
No, that's why I think it's a shame, because here's a guy who, talented player, should be playing hockey, but
yeah.
yeah.
is unfortunately unallowed to because of political reasons or whatever's going on. So,
Right.
all right. Well, Lance, I'll tell you what, man. I'm looking forward to this training camp. Um, I'm excited about this training camp. I'm excited about the battles on the offense. Excited about the battles for the blue line. I'm excited to see who's going to start in net. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Mhm.
I'm really excited about this upcoming season. I look. I don't think that the Flyers are anywhere close to being where they need to be
Contenders. Yeah.
yet. Okay, and I'm okay with that.
Hmm.
I'm okay with that because I know that the next couple years need to be, you know, not so winning seasons because that's just the way it is. You gotta. It's just how it has to be. Do you
Let's
know what
get
I
some
mean?
some more quality picks and
Yeah.
see where we are in a couple of years, a year or two away with
Yep.
some top picks again and the picks we already have in the
I
system.
think you.
I think we'll be well on the way back to contention in 3 to 5 years time. Actual
Uh.
contention.
Okay. So I'm actually a little bit more optimistic than you are. I'm not going to go that far. I think in 2 years, I think the Flyers very well may be knocking on the door in 2 years, right? And in that third year, like, so that's like the end of Tortorella's contract,
Mhm.
right? So by the he get to the end of his contract is when I think the Flyers are going to potentially be contenders.
Well, that's the thing. The Flyers are okay, and fans along, they've been too long just being mediocre. And for me, what I'm saying is, yeah, I think in 2 years' time, maybe they're knocking on the door of the playoffs, but they're not actual contenders for a Stanley Cup. No, it's going to take at least 3 or 4 or 5 years for the team to be actual contenders if it all plays out right and all the prospects, Mishkov and everything comes over, and
Right. Right.
Cutter Gauthier finally decides to sign with the team, and Tyson
Hey, how about
Forster's
that?
hitting
Yeah.
on all, cylinders, and whoever else we draft, this summer is coming along. So, it's going to be something. And, as more contract space opens up and some more guys, are shown the door and traded potentially at the deadline. Maybe we get rid of some more dead weight. More spots for more quality youth are available. So
I'm with you. We didn't even talk about Bobby Brink or Day or Wisdom, or we didn't even talk about the plethora of guys that are going to be trying to make this team, and the youth movement that's coming for this team. I'm excited for it. I know you are. We're both excited about the youth going on here, and we've also taken to the fact that look, it's going to take a couple years. You got to have to be patient. That be the key word. And it seems like, it appears that what the Flyers organization is really doing is trying to do it the right way and not cutting the corners like what it seemed like what Chuck was doing.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Doesn't it seem like that's kind of what he was doing? Like, he was cutting the corners, and now it just seems like they're doing it the long way.
Well, the right way. The right way is taking your time and building and building, through the draft, and making smart decisions and signings, and making right decisions and players not to be brought back and not to be re-signed. So, Briere has done a lot in a little bit of time. But I look forward to seeing some more moves, some more trades, and some more ability to get some of these younger guys in the black and orange.
I'm with you 100%, man. I'm with you 100%. So, Lance, I'll tell you what. You did just put out a prospect watch too, and that was some snappy reading there too, man. Really like that. And anything else coming out here in the works, or got anything rolling?
Well, I have a particular article in mind for the Flyers. A good reference or suggestion in my mind that they should keep an eye out for. So I'll leave you with that.
Ooh, boy, I like that, man. I like when you tease me with those little tidbits of upcoming stuff, man. Really appreciate that. And got to go to the SteelFlyers.com website to check out this article that Lance did here about these camp battles set to ensue, and also check out his latest prospect watch article. Go check that out as well at SteelFlyers.com. Why don't you tell the folks where we can find you, where we can get you, Lance?
Yeah, you can catch all my stuff, of course, on SteelFlyers.com. And you can catch me on Twitter at Lance.Green39.
Awesome sauce, man. Hit him up, man. He loves the banter. We both do. You can find us on Hockey Writers Ink. That's HCKYWTERS Inc. That's the Hockey Writers Inc. for Twitter. Then you can also find me on Twitter at SteelFlyers52. But yeah, man, hit us up. We love conversations. We love to talk about what you guys think, and we'd love to hear what you guys think. The fact that you guys have ranked us 11th in the top 15 of all Flyers podcasts, man, we really appreciate that. I really thank you guys for that. That's really awesome. Can't thank you enough for that. Can't thank Spreaker enough for all their help in getting us out there to all those podcasting platforms so that you folks out there can listen to us and check us out and tune us in. We're both looking very forward to this season with the youth movement coming up and a lot of things going on with the Flyers. So I think it's going to be a good one. It's still part of the rebuild, but something to be excited about, though. What do you think?
Yeah, I think so. So, like you said, I'm ready for these next couple weeks to pass by and get some players back on the ice and
buddy.
Get back to a new season.
Oh, man. Can't wait. Well, I'll tell you what, we'd like to thank you for checking us out. And we really appreciate y'all watching us. Guys, all on the next episode of the Hockey Writers Ink.